Before we get into this video, let's have a conversation about money. What is it? Yes, we buy stuff with it. We pay our bills with it. It provides us with food and shelter. Everyone doesn't have enough of it and wants more. But have you really stopped and thought about what it is? What gives it value? After all, they're just portraits of rulers on special paper. Currency is sanctioned by governments. Just like almost every other aspect in society, such as laws and courts, currency is a set of agreed upon rules by which we conduct ourselves. But the state is made up of people with flaws, and soon the rules are more about preserving power structures rather than any sort of morals or communal harmony. In the United States and many other countries, the currency is issued by a central bank. Since the U.S. is the world's dominant currency, let's focus on the Federal Reserve. The U.S. Central Bank controls the value of money for most of the world through the expansion and contraction of the total money supply and the establishment of the interest rate. So the central bank creates money and then lends it to the government and other banks, which in turn spends it or lends it into the economy. Just think about that for a minute. All the money is borrowed into existence with interest. This means there can never be enough money to pay the debt. Our money is dependent on an ever-expanding system, and without this expansion, the bottom falls out and the whole thing comes crashing down. Have you ever seen the inflation rate be zero or negative? You might think this system is fine because our democratically elected government oversees the central banks. Think again. Even though the president nominates the Federal Reserve leadership and Congress must approve, this is where the oversight ends.
$1 billion TARP bailout, which I voted against as it happens. Not a whole lot has been talked about with regard to the $2.2 trillion that the Fed has lent out. Now, I find that absolutely extraordinary that I wrote you a letter and I said, hey, who'd you lend the money to? What were the terms of those loans? How can my constituents in Vermont get some of that money? Who makes the decisions? Do you guys sit around in a room? Do you make it? Are there conflicts of interest? So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars? Will you tell us who got that money and what the terms are of those agreements?
We explain each of our programs. In terms of the terms, we explain the terms exactly. We explain what the collateral requirements are. We explain what
To whom did you explain that?
It's on our website.
Yeah, okay.
So all that information is available in our commercial paper program.
And who got the money?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks. Any bank that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
You tell us who they are.
No.
The Federal Reserve is a private, independent organization outside of our constitutional democracy system of government. But who owns this central bank? Why, the shareholders, of course. Who are they? We really don't know. What if there were a different way? What if money was a protocol, or in other words, a system of rules? Kind of like how we drive on the right side of the road or say hello when we answer the phone. What if the issuance of money was determined by a predictable algorithm, known and understandable to everyone, and thus uncorruptible to the whims of humans? What would it be like if your money gained value instead of lost it? Perhaps you would demand better quality and durability from the goods you buy, because spending large amounts of money on something disposable would be foolish. Perhaps our phones and our cars' lifespans could double or triple. Perhaps we could finally get off this consumer treadmill that we are all forced to walk. Perhaps we could find harmony with the limited resources of our realm. Tell me, what system in nature or science demands exponential expansion? Ask a biologist. Ask a physicist. Ask an engineer. Ask a doctor. He'll probably tell you cancer. Ask an astronomer. She'll tell you it ends in a supernova explosion. Someone stopped and thought about money. A lot. He came up with a different way. His name was Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin. By now, he could have been one of the most wealthy and powerful persons on the planet. Instead, he gave his gift to the world and then disappeared. Anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm passionate about cryptocurrency. Maybe you know someone like this, and no doubt they mentioned El Salvador, the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender. Oftentimes in my travels, the subject of cryptocurrency comes up with the people I meet. A common trope is, but you can't do anything with it. As a visual aid to my argument, I thought it would be cool to ride my motorcycle to El Salvador and buy something cool with Bitcoin to show that this is not true. Here is what happened.
Okay, so we're heading out from Antigua, heading out to El Salvador. There's a lot of different opinions on what route I should take. And based on the second to the last and the second to the best recommendation I got a hotel room by a volcano. I can't remember the name of it right now. In El Salvador. So we're just gonna deal with the city, with Guatemala City. It's not ideal, but that's just the way we're gonna go. It's a little bit dirty. Okay. Adios. About 120 miles to go today. However, it's going to take a little bit over 4 hours, and that's not counting for traffic, which looks like it could get pretty brutal. And we got a border crossing, so let's just go ahead and double that. It's 9:30 right now, so hopefully we'll be pulling into the hotel, which we have a reservation for. Around 5, 6 o'clock. It'll be great. So I don't know if the camera got that, but Brian was telling me they're pretty, they check your registration for your vehicle. And it's pretty random the way they pull people over because they don't have enough personnel to get everybody. But yeah, we went for those test rides the other day, and I was riding Julian's bike, and we didn't have the registration, but luckily we did not get pulled over. So got a forecast for rain around noon, and if we had a straightforward route on a highway, we'd be at our destination. I used to drive in our hotel rooms, but unfortunately that's not the case. So this is the price we pay for avoiding the red zones. When I say red zones, it's the dangerous areas. Well, I exited the freeway where I shouldn't have. That's just impossible to tell being an outsider through here. Am I in a safe area? I don't know. I mean, seriously, I mean, why? What am I going to do about it if it's not? Just, yeah. I mean, look, there's an Audi in front of me, so, can't be too bad, right? This is crazy. This is just like a maze. So hopefully, I think we're on the Carretera El Salvador, which is loosely translated the road to El Salvador. CA1. As far as I can tell, we've got a little bit of an orange area up here. Looking at the map, that means a little bit of congestion. It's not red, it's orange. So hopefully we're almost through it. I asked Brian last night, I forget what zone this is, maybe 9 or 18, I don't know, doesn't matter. Zone 10. I was like, oh, is it safe there? And he goes, it's where all the rich people live. I think that's where we are now, so. Yeah, I think we're good. Getting close to the border, about 12 miles to go. And after that, another, I don't know, 10 miles or so, then we'll be done for the day. Okay, I just crossed the border. I read that there was another checkpoint, but I think we've gone far enough, but we still might hit it anyway. Woohoo! El Salvador. Super easy. People are very, very helpful. I mean, when I say people, the border officials, the bureaucrats, government people, whatever you want to call them, super nice, super helpful, super tolerant. They'd start speaking to me in Spanish, and I'd just pull out the translation app, and they were fine with it. So I did have to, I don't know, maybe an hour for them to process my paperwork on the El Salvador side. On the Guatemala side, it was super easy. But yay, we got about 8 miles to go to the hotel, and it may or may not rain. It doesn't really matter at this point. So yay, here, check it out. This is El Salvador. Back there I saw my first El Salvadoran military or police or whatever, and yeah, they looked like they were pretty well armed with body armor. They had AR type weapons, rifles, not unsimilar to Mexico. It seems like what they're doing here is actually making a difference, unlike Mexico. And yeah, so the police or military, I don't know what you call them, in Guatemala, they just usually had shotguns. I did see a couple of people with, once or twice with AR style automatic weapons, but mostly shotguns. So yeah, but those guys, man, like I said, they were armed and equipped to the teeth. And I don't know if we'll get into it or not, but there's a lot of changes going on in El Salvador. In a nutshell, they basically, the president here, I'm going to butcher his name, Bukele, he's made some big changes. He pushed through a lot of reforms and a lot of money for the police. And so basically they, oh, speaking of which, we might get stopped up here. Hold on a second. To be continued. Nope. They just waved. I waved at them. They waved at me. So anyway, like I was saying, so built one of the largest prisons in the world in record time, and just basically round up all the gangs. And I think the people love him for it. Based on the per capita murder rate, El Salvador was the most dangerous country in the world, and he just released a video the other day, which is disputed, but still, been a year without murders. So he is very well liked. People can live their lives now. But it's funny, there's this YouTube channel called Wendover Productions. I'll put a they're kind of, you know, they do some good research, but they're pretty biased on the left calling the guy a dictator. It's a non sequitur. If you're using democratic means to get what you need done, your party sweeps the elections, both the executive branch and the legislative branch, through the electoral process. How can you call these people a dictator? He hasn't declared himself a dictator or a despot or something. Were able to get the Supreme Court, their party, I don't remember the name of it, and they interpreted the Constitution in a way where he could hold a second term. I just don't get it. Anyway, that's part of the reason I came here in Bitcoin. And I'm not going to talk about that right now because there's some really cool volcanoes ahead of us. Well, they got about 3 miles to go, so yeah. El Salvador. Yay!
I found my way to the hotel, which was interesting because the towns in El Salvador don't have street signs, nor are there address numbers on the buildings. This would not be the last time I had to grapple with this. Anyway, I had my first proposal, and then rested for the next day's ride. The itinerary ended up in a hotel lobby again. So today is our first full day in El Salvador. We got a real short ride here. We're gonna take a ride up this twisty road up this mountain here. We're gonna skirt a national park, maybe enter it. I don't know, something impossible. I'll put the name up on the screen. So yeah, just. As I mentioned before, my MO is to find a squiggly line on the map, on Google Maps, and then go check it out. Hardly ever disappoints. In fact, I can't even think of a time it did disappoint.
So here we are, we're just heading out from Las Casitas Hostel, super cool place. We're on our way to the Bitcoin beach. All right, let's go. All right, man. See you later.
So here we go. I have traveled over 3,000 miles to not only spend Bitcoin, but to experience a community known as Bitcoin Beach. El Zonte is a surfer destination that's local economy has embraced Bitcoin. Tourists can spend their Bitcoin here. Locals can pay their utility bills with Bitcoin here. Mainstream networks have done stories about this place. But when I tried to download the Bitcoin Beach wallet, this is when clouds started to form on the horizon.
Jason?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate that.
Okay.
How you doing? Okay, there's where their tenor is parked right now, and there's secure parking. There's the obstacle. So let's see how this goes. Yeah. That was fun. Just a little bit of carnage. Well, we'll work out the details later when it's not so freaking hot. There we go. Safe. Okay, so this Airbnb was pretty cheap. I don't recall how cheap off the top of my head, but one of the reasons it's under construction. Pretty basic. I paid, I don't know, I'll put it up on the screen. But, okay, so most important thing, number one or two. I think right now I feel number one. But that might change. Number two, let's see here. Wi-Fi, and of course it has a bathroom, shower. No hot water, but who cares right now? It's freaking. I wouldn't want to take a hot shower. I'd probably take a warm, cold shower. And here is our traditional Central American kitchen sink. Yeah. So, super basic. But, number four. They got coffee for the morning. Yay. All right, guys. A little bit later, we'll see about this Bitcoin thing. But for now, I'm just gonna relax. Here we are at Bitcoin Beach. This may or may not be my first meal paid for with Bitcoin. Or should I say crypto? Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. Yeah, so we'll see. Okay, so paying with Bitcoin for my breakfast was a fail. I asked the waiter, should I look in this thing? I don't know. I asked the waiter about Bitcoin. He kind of got this look on his face. It's like, oh no. Kind of like sort of confusion, sort of like a big pain in the ass, something he would have to struggle with. So I said, oh, no problem. I got dollars. And he said, yeah, we don't take Bitcoin. So that's fail number 2. Maybe I'll call it 2.5. Anyway, the quest continues. Okay, so here we go. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Vladimir.
Vladimir. Yeah. Oh, okay. Me llamo Jason, and we're going to buy this thing for Bitcoin for $5, and we'll see how this goes. Okay. So, using the Lightning Network, I was able to send this guy $5. Oh, it went away. Let me see. So there's.
Así por
Oh,
de like.
yeah. Oh,
Less
okay.
like.
Okay. We were successful in spending some Bitcoin. Thank you, buddy. Okay, so dude named Vladimir. That is a traditional El Salvador name. He seemed to fumble around with the payment a little bit, but he was more than willing to accept it. I did have to change his app to the Lightning Network. Otherwise, that $5 trinket I bought would have been, oh boy. I just transferred some Bitcoin this morning. It was $8. No, $3. So without the Lightning Network, it would have been an $8 trinket plus. Instead, we used the Lightning Network, and I think it was like a penny or something. All right, so there's another store up here. Let's go see if we can get a water bottle and a snack and maybe a t-shirt. Okay, another fail. I didn't buy a souvenir there because, you know, they didn't take Bitcoin and there's nothing I was really interested in. They just had a couple of t-shirts. We'll go ahead and take this one with a grain of salt because she couldn't even break a 20 for $2 in water. So, yeah, boy, Bitcoin Beach is turning out to be kind of a disappointment, I'll tell you. Anyway, an idea about town. Few hotels, few restaurants. A lot going on here. Yeah, $30 a month for 15 megs. Yeah. Okay, fail number 3. Got some water. Had to use my dollars. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but El Salvador uses US dollars. And get across the street here. And she was able to break a 20. Oh my. Okay, so camera forward. Way up there where that car is my Airbnb. And the reason I say it's way up there, it's, what time is it? It's like, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just freaking sweltering. I don't know if you can see how much I'm sweating there, but oh my god, it's freaking hot here. Yeah. Bitcoin Beach. We got these road signs here. I don't know if that has anything to do with Bitcoin or not. And holy crap, did I mention it's hot. I was walking up this little hill, I'm starting to get winded. Have fun. Bitcoin Beach. Yeah, so my little walk for breakfast. It is 9:30 in the morning, and that's not dirt, that's sweat. I don't know, I probably walked a mile, maybe a little bit more. Nah, not that far. Whew. Did I mention it's sweltering hot here in Bitcoin Beach, Zonte? Thank God for that. Well, since I couldn't find anything to buy with my Bitcoin, I got myself a fancy dinner. Okay, so we got some breakfast here. They say they accept Bitcoin, and we're gonna try and pay for it. So there's a bagel, egg, and cheese, and a cappuccino. It's probably gonna cost like $10. Not quite American prices, but not quite affordable either. And there we got the bike all packed up.
I found El Zonte a contradiction, like most of El Salvador in general. If I were a surfer, I would be in heaven here, because I guess this place is a mecca for those types. As such, the place was pretty expensive. As I left El Zonte, I reflected on my experience with Bitcoin. I already had Bitcoin. I just needed to transfer some to my phone so I could spend it. Even this exercise turned out to be a challenge. Getting a wallet that supports private keys and the Lightning Network proved to be almost impossible. Sure, there are plenty of apps out there that would offer to sell me Bitcoin for money, but like I said, I already had it. I've heard of Strike before, so I downloaded it despite the fact it doesn't support private keys. This is analogous to having Bitcoin at an account on a counterparty's system, much like dollars at a bank. Oh well, something is better than nothing. I was disappointed to find out that upon moving my Bitcoin to Strike, it was immediately converted into dollars. I asked their support about this, and they confirmed this is how it works. When I pointed out that this is contradictory to what is said on the app page on Google Play, they didn't seem to care. The few times I was actually able to use the app, they converted the dollars into Bitcoin in real time and then settled the transaction with that. Not only does this seem pointless, more importantly, it contradicts everything Bitcoin is supposed to stand for. As I continued to travel across El Salvador, I still tried to spend Bitcoin. Even this gas station had a Bitcoin sign. However, they were unable to complete the transaction.
¿Pago sería cómo? ¿Con Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, por favor.
Ahorita voy a hacer el teléfono.
Okay, so I might be causing a little drama here with the request to pay in Bitcoin, but we'll see.
No se puede, dice, pagar con Bitcoin.
No Bitcoin?
No se puede.
No problem. I give you money.
Bueno. O con tarjeta. ¿Ya anda tarjeta?
No español, sorry.
Ya lo volcamos.
Okay, so Bitcoin was a bust. I guess if I insisted, I could have, but it's just easy to pay cash. Gracias.
I also read online that the large food chains will accept Bitcoin because it is mandated by the government that they are legally required to do so. So I went to Pizza Hut. They had one cellular device that was capable of accepting Bitcoin using the government-sponsored app called Chivo. It took them a minute to find this cell phone, and when they presented me a QR code, it was actually to use dollars. So they had conflated Chivo with Bitcoin. And when the transaction failed, they said they didn't accept Bitcoin. But I could use the Chivo app to pay with dollars. Some of the smaller businesses I went to actually responded with a mild amount of hostility when I mentioned Bitcoin. I mean, can you blame them? Bukele actually bought Bitcoin at the peak, and since then it's probably less than half the value of when he bought the initial investment in it. I would tell them to hold on, that they might be happy someday. However, I did not know enough Spanish to explain to them how much trouble the dollar is in. But time will tell how El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment will go for them. Didn't go so well for me. As I turned north towards home, I reflected on my experience with Bitcoin in the context of the last decade of both my idealism and that of the crypto community. Nothing like the real world to temper idealism. First, I found setting myself up to use Bitcoin very confusing and difficult. And I say this as a person whose career it was working hands-on with technology and software. If anyone in the community is listening, this has to be easy if anyone is going to take us seriously. On the other hand, buying Bitcoin is all too easy, which brings me to my second point, grifters. Interacting with Strike support was eye-opening. Strike seems more interested in a money grab than propagating Bitcoin to usher in the next generation of the financial system. Now, every time I see somebody offering services in Bitcoin, I'm skeptical. In conclusion, do I still believe in the ideals of Satoshi Nakamoto? Yes, I do. But my optimism has been balanced with a healthy dose of skepticism. Crypto has a lot of work to do, and not to mention it faces a well-organized, powerful, and entrenched system that views it as an opponent. It looks like they were right and I was wrong. You cannot, indeed, do anything with it. Bitcoin aside, this experience has changed me. Not like any other journey that I've challenged myself with. Ask any nomad why they do it, and they will all say something similar. If one puts themselves into a different environment, one of two things happens. First, our ideas, thoughts, and opinions about the world are tested to see if they hold water, to see if they can be relied upon, to be proven solid. But more often than not, these things melt away, to be left behind with the person who was before. This leaves space for something new to arrive. wash, rinse, repeat, and sooner or later, one is transformed into something unrecognizable, yet familiar.